Hey guys, DIY Maniac here. So on today's video, I want to do a little how-to for summerizing. So we normally would say winterizing equipment, but for a snow blower, it's summerizing. So the steps I take for proper storage over the summer months of my snow blower, and what I find works best and has worked well for me over many years. And I never have issues come the fall time upon startup. So we're going to go over the steps of draining the oil. We're going to go over the steps of removing the spark plug inspection, cleaning, and replacement if need be. Oil fill, a storage oil spray that goes into the cylinder to lubricate the cylinder walls and piston rings so you don't get any corrosion during storage. And we're also going to go over the routine checkup of the machine, how to empty the gas tank, because you don't want to leave any gas, even if you're using stable. I like to get all that gas out of there. Same for the carburetor. So I'll show you how to remove the tank, drain it. We're then going to run the machine, run it dry, and we're also going to remove the carburetor bowl to get any residual gas out of the carburetor. So that way, during the summer months, it doesn't turn to a varnish and give us problems in the spring. So in this example, this is for my John Deere 1028 snowblower, but it's pretty much applicable for most snowblowers. Some of the steps are going to change due to the difference in models, but it'll give you a basic understanding. So I'm going to leave the video here, and then when we pick up, we're going to be doing the oil drain and fill. Okay, so we're at this stage where we're going to want to empty the oil. If we look on this particular model, we have the oil drain right here. So you can use an adjustable wrench to remove the plug to drain the oil. Now, to get gravity on our side to help us, I like to lift up the front end of the snowblower and get a block of wood underneath it, and that way it'll help the oil flow a little bit more. That can be achieved by raising up the blower and putting the wood underneath, and as you can see, that props it up and it'll be a little bit easier for draining. You can then take the vessel of your choice that you want to put the oil in. In my case, I like to use an old windshield fluid jug. Place that underneath to catch the oil as it's going to come out. So we'll start by loosening with our adjustable wrench the drain plug. So you're going to adjust it to the right size. And you're going to turn counterclockwise. If you remember the old expression, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you want to remember. And chances are we're going to get a little bit of oil on the ground, which we don't want. So we're going to take a mat, put it underneath. Avoid that issue. I don't like a dirty driveway, garage. So we're going to remove the plug, and we're going to try to work fast here and catch the oil as it comes out. And I got it. Not bad. Now, in order to speed up the process, the best thing to do is pull out the dipstick, because right now what's happening is it's creating a bit of a vacuum. It's like turning a Coke bottle upside down. So you'll see once the dipstick gets removed, the oil flow will pick up its pace just a little bit, and that'll make things go a little bit faster for us. So we're going to let that drain. We're going to give it as much time as it needs to all the oils emptied out. And then once that's done, I'll come back and show you the next step. So our oil is pretty much all drained out. So I want to talk about oil use and what oil we're going to use. I'm not going to show you how to put the drain cap back on, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I want to talk about what oil we're going to use in our machine. Now, there's a lot of talks, of course, what oil should you use? Specific oil for these kind of small engines, automotive oil, synthetic oils. Well, I've been using this for years in all my snow blowers. It's an oil from Briggs & Stratton, and it's low temperature small engine oil. It's like $8 for the 1 liter, and it's perfect for filling the machine. More than perfect, actually. So, I mean, yes, you could use synthetic oils. I don't know which is better. There's so much research out there. I'm not going to speak too much on it. This is the oil I always have used and I've never had problems. It's not to say if you use other oils it's going to hurt the machine. I'm just going from my experience, so I always stick with the Briggs & Stratton oils. They also make a synthetic oil, but I use this one. It's a 5W30 and it works great. So I mean, when it comes time now to re-add the oil, I'm not going to show you that, guys, either. You know how to do it. You remove your dipstick, put your funnel in, you're going to fill, check with your dipstick, make sure the machine's on level ground, and you keep going until you're at the proper range. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to pick up the video again. So our oil has been emptied, it's been refilled, it's at the good level, and now I want to go to the stage of removing the gas from the tank. So on this particular mower, we have a valve we turn off to stop any gas from leaving the tank. Now on this particular John Deere model, we have to remove these two bolts here, and there's an access cover, because behind that there's a bolt we need to remove in order to release the gas tank. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll pick up. Sorry guys, forgot to mention there's a bolt here as well, another 8mm that needs to be removed. That allows us to remove this whole plastic piece here. So we'll go ahead and remove that, and then I'll show you what it looks like under there. So once you remove those bolts, this plastic piece, this plastic piece is going to come off. You just pull it off, you work it around the gas valve there, and it's going to expose two more bolts that are 10mm. So we're going to go ahead and remove these two. That will free up the gas tank to be removed. The only thing that will be connecting the gas tank physically to the machine after that is this fuel hose. And there's a little clamp there, typical fuse line clamp, that you take a pair of pliers, you squeeze together, and that frees up the hose to be pulled off of the drain cock, and we can then remove the tank to empty into a jerry can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So with the two back bolts removed, I forgot to mention these ones. You do have two 10mm in the front that need to come out to empty the to remove the gas tank. Now what I like to do, because obviously there's going to be fuel in the fuel line when you remove this gas tank, is close the valve, run the machine. That'll vacate all the fuel in the system. So when you disconnect that fuel hose in the back, you won't have gas spilling everywhere. So once the fuel tank is off, you can see here, here's the gas tank, there's your drain valve. So now it's just a matter of putting your drain valve into your jerry can, opening up the valve, and empty all the gas that's in the tank into your jerry can, so you could use it on either your car or your summer equipment. So gas is removed from the tank. We ran the engine and we got any fuel out of the system, but there's always going to be a little bit of fuel remaining in the carburetor bowl. So what I like to do is remove the bowl from the carburetor and dump out that fuel. So to access it on this machine, because we can't get to the carburetor because of this plastic shield, these are the 10mm nuts that need to be removed. And once these are removed, we're able to pull that plastic shrouding off. Now for you guys with this engine, because I think this particular Briggs & Stratton is found on other equipment like Husqvarna and stuff, you don't need to remove this top portion. It works its way out like that. So you could pull it free. And that'll give us the room we need now to access the carburetor. So in order to remove the bowl, there's going to be two small Phillips screws, one there, and there's another spark arrestor back there. Yeah, it's hard to see. I just dropped the piece too, but that's okay, I see it. And you're going to remove those two screws, and the bowl's going to drop down, and that's going to allow you to tilt it and empty it out. So I'm picking up the video. I've already removed one of the screws for the carb bowl. I'm now removing the second one. And once that's removed, I want to show you the bowl removed and show that there's still some fuel in there. So there's the second screw gone. And now our carburetor bowl drops straight down. As you see here, there's our float. And if I don't know how well you're going to see it, but if you look inside, let me look at the camera, make sure you guys can see this. If you look inside, here, let me pick it up and show you. If you look inside, you can still see some fuel in there that could turn to varnish. I'm not saying it would. I know, like everything, I'm always a little overdo things, but why not? I like it that way, and gives me peace of mind. So that's why I remove the bowl. So you could dump that out into a container and then reinstall the carburetor. It's the reverse as we took it out. The bowl is back on. I just want to make a correction. I called this a spark arrestor. Spark arrestor is on the exhaust. This is just a wire mesh that goes over the intake of the carburetor, of where the butterfly valve is. It's just to stop any large particles from going through. Got to remember, there's no real air filter on a snowblower because it's not needed. It's not being handled in dusty environments. But they put that there just to stop any larger particles. So you want to make sure you put that mesh on, your washer, your spacer, and then after that you could go ahead and put that plastic shroud back on. So the next step we're going to want to do is access the spark plug, remove it, inspect it to see and clean it. If we see it's really dirty and needs to be changed, then we'll put a new one in. And at the same time, when the spark plug's removed, we're going to use an oil fogger and we're going to spray it into the cylinder bore, where they're going to pull the machine by hand lightly a couple of times with the spark plug removed to distribute that oil that we put in onto the cylinder wall and the piston rings. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I'm going to pull the spark plug out, and when I come back, we'll take a look at the spark plug together. So with our spark plug removed, we can see here, I don't know what's going to show up on the camera. We've got our, so we have it out. So what we want to do is we want to check it, see if it's overly dirty. We also want to recheck the gap. So you're going to take your gap gauge, verify the gap, and at the same time take a brass brush, so it's gentle, and we just clean the threads and we clean the electrode and we just get it all nice and clean. But if if it's been in there a couple of years and it's really dirty, at the cost of a spark plug, just go ahead and change it. I like to change it every 2 years. I don't put many hours on my snowblower, so I'm not too worried about it, and it's still in great shape, this one. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and then we're going to take up where I'm going to put the fogger in. So now with the spark plug removed, if you look down inside, you can see the spark plug hole now that's been removed, so it gives us access to put the oil down into the cylinder. So we take our can of storage spray, fogger, and you're going to spray it down into the cylinder. It has a straw so you could get in there, and we're going to give it a spray right into the cylinder. Don't need too much. Then once the oil has been sprayed into the cylinder, still with the spark plug removed, we're going to crank the snowblower by hand with a pull rope gently, and that's going to move the cylinder, the piston, up and down in the cylinder, and that's going to distribute the oil evenly on the cylinder wall and on the piston rings. Just a few times, and that's all it takes. So now all we need to do is put our spark plug back in, a little dielectric grease on the ceramic, the porcelain portion of the spark plug, and then a little bit of anti-seize on the threads if you think it's needed. And then I'm going to show you the finished product of how I take apart the machine for storage and make it nice and compact. So I'll be right back. So here we are, guys. I got the snowblower disassembled. So what I like to do is tuck it underneath my staircase to my basement, to my garage, sorry. So it's just a matter of unbolting the control portion of it and then strapping all the cables out of the way. That way I can neatly tuck it under there. So anyway, guys, I mean, that's just a little video of how I get my snowblower ready for storage. Everyone has their own way. I respect everyone's opinions, and if you have anything you want to share or questions you want to ask, please feel free to ask down below. And thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.